Hi everyone, this is Ron with Newman, and today we are taking a look at the RedMagic 5S. This is obviously a successor to the RedMagic 5G that was released earlier this year, and this is a strategy that RedMagic does often. The last year they had the RedMagic 3 and then the 3S, so now we have the 5G and the 5S. And because it's in the same year, it's a pretty incremental upgrade, it's not going to be major. And they're actually even using the same processor. So we're still looking at the Snapdragon 865 at the heart of this. And RAM and storage configurations are the same in terms of size. So 8 gigabytes of RAM plus 128 gigabytes of storage for the lower end model, or 12 gigabytes of RAM plus 256 gigabytes of storage in the higher end model, which is what we got here. But there are a few differences. But before we get to that, let's just take a look at the inside of the packaging here. Everything looks very similar. They do seem to have redesigned the charger a little bit. Now it says Neo Charge on the plug there, but nothing major. And the power adapter itself was also slightly redesigned. It also looks a little bit different than I remember them looking. But, still 18 watts. It's not the 55 watt charger that they sell separately. It's still supported by this phone, but they do not include it. Another notable change in the packaging, I'm not sure if this is a change of I've only been unlucky, but none of my previous RedMagic phones included the case in the box. Now this one does. And it's not only transparent and lets you see, the phone, but it's got these really, really reinforced corners here. So if you put this on your phone and you drop it, I'm pretty sure nothing's going to happen, because this is pretty tough looking. So that's pretty nice. I'm glad they include these now, because I don't know what it is about RedMagic phones, but I always end up dropping them. So I'm definitely going to be using this. So that's all good news, but now we want to take a look at the phone itself. And this, like I said, is a higher end model with 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. But what I love most about it is the design, because the higher end model comes in this gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous pulse color, and you can see the way the light reflects off of it and everything. It's just so beautiful, and I don't think the video is even doing it any justice. It's just such a beautiful phone with this color scheme. So obviously transitions from blue to red there, and the frame itself is also got that transition going on, and it's just such a beautiful phone. I fell in love with it the first time I saw it. So it's really beautiful. So in terms of the design itself, though, because like I said, this colors for the high-end model. The lower tier comes in silver, so I think that is a change from the previous models, which only came in black and red. But the design itself is very, very similar. Glass plate on the back, metal frame, of course, the buttons, power button, volume rocker, touch triggers, headphone jack, microphone. Everything is in the same place. You have the air intakes, the competitive button, the pin connector for the RedMagic adapter if you buy it, and SIM card slot, USB Type-C, bottom firing speaker, a microphone there, another microphone at top. So almost everything about the design is the same. The biggest change, though, is internal and external, kind of. So this is the first phone in the world to use silver as a cooling element, according to RedMagic. So there's a plate of silver now inside this phone to help dissipate heat. And if you look closely at the back, you can actually kind of see it, because now, instead of the RedMagic logo being under the glass, you have this cutout here where the RedMagic logo shows up. And it actually even says right there next to the RedMagic text, it's got a little indicator that it says AG, which is the symbol for silver. So this is where the silver plate leads to on the phone. And it's here because you then want to use it with this new accessory that RedMagic has made, which is the ice dock. So we're gonna take a quick look at that. I haven't actually plugged it in yet or anything, so I don't know how well it works, but this is one huge fan here. It's massive. And so it stretches out these things and it attaches to the phone like so. And you're supposed to align it with this silver plate, I believe. So then this giant fan here is cooling down the silver and helping cool down the entire phone. To be clear, there is still a fan inside the phone, but if you want the extra cooling power, which you might, then this is looking like it could be pretty promising. RedMagic promises quite a reduction in temperature because of this. I'm not completely sure how much, but so it's up to 7.3 degrees lower compared to something. They don't specifically say. I'm assuming it's compared to without the fan, but the text isn't all too specific. But yeah, this combined with the silver should provide a lot better cooling and possibly even more interesting, well, not more interesting, but as a consequence of that, more sustained performance, which was already pretty great. If you saw my previous reviews of RedMagic phones, I would always run 3 benchmarks, like the 3 runs of the benchmarks in a row to see how the performance changed over time. And it was already very stable, but it should be even more so now. I'm really interested in trying that out. Another thing that should help make this one faster is the storage. So they have upgraded the storage from UFS 3.0 to UFS 3.1. So that's an advantage, of course. But really, that's mostly it, because they're using the same processor, the 865, and not the 865 Plus, which I thought was really weird because, you know, that's usually the point of these mid-year revisions. That's what they did last year. But I asked Nubia, and apparently they can't sell the phone with the A65 Plus in China, which is their biggest market. They actually even pointed me to the Xiaomi Mi 10 Ultra, because that's like the pinnacle of high-end specs for everything, and that's also using the 865. So for whatever reason, you can't sell 865 Plus phones in China. So that's why they went with the older one. But you know, now you have this way better cooling solution. So I'm kind of interested to see how this chipset with this cooling can compare to using a newer processor without that much work put into the cooling system. But of course, that's something I'll have to test later on. So I already gave you a look at all the buttons around it. Just a quick note that the touch triggers have also been improved though. So they used to have a 300 Hz touch sampling rate on the RedMagic 5G. So it's been slightly improved to 320 Hz now. So, you know, a little more responsive than they were before. That should be better if using these for shooters or whatever you're playing here. So we're gonna go ahead and turn this on. The display here is pretty much the same as on the RedMagic 5G, so you're still looking at Full HD, and it's 144 Hz. So the RedMagic 5G, I believe, was the first phone in the world to have 144 Hz. Now it's not alone in that, but it still does have it, so it's definitely a welcome feature if you like that top-notch refresh rate. But aside from that, just like with everything else about this phone, it's very, very, very similar to the RedMagic 5G. So the interface looks almost exactly the same. You have the picture-in-picture mode here, which you can also use in game mode. That's one of the things they're promoting, is that you can now have something in game mode and you can open many windows while doing that. And then that way, if you're playing like PUBG or something, you can send a text while you're waiting for a match to start. And then once it starts, you just dismiss the menu window and you get to playing. So that's kind of their angle with that. But, you know, everything looks the same. The settings all look pretty much the same. There is not a lot that has changed here. I'm curious to see. I forget some of these things. I'm not sure where the lighting options are. Yeah, I have no idea. Where does that go? Unless they removed the RGB lighting, which I guess is a possibility. But they actually did. I'm surprised by this for some reason. There is no more RGB. So I guess that's the big trade-off here when you replace that area where they had the lighting before with silver, is that now you don't have RGB lighting. So that's kind of unfortunate in a way, because that is one of the distinctive features that they had. But if you're looking for gaming, and you could argue for this even in computers, you know, RGB is used as a symbol of gamer hardware, but the usefulness of it is, you know, questionable. So you're not going to be missing out by not having it. But it is an interesting step to take, because they've had RGB since their first phone. So that's actually kind of surprising. I didn't expect that, and I did somehow. That wasn't really mentioned anywhere in the press material. So no RGB this time. But still, aside from that, the software is incredibly similar. Everything looks almost the same. So nothing has changed there. Even if I open game mode like I show you, everything looks very, very similar. Even this pop-up here. I think the only thing that changed here is that it can change the order of the buttons now. I don't think you could do that before. I don't remember being able to. But aside from that, it's pretty much the same as before. And yeah, I'm actually legitimately surprised that there's no RGB now. But that's pretty much the phone. Like I said, it's super similar. I can open the camera, but again, similar to before. It's not the main focus of this phone. And they actually have not changed anything about the hardware either. So you got a 64 megapixel main camera, 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a 2 megapixel macro. Those 2 megapixel macro cameras are never really useful. They're just there for the sake of, you know, now you have 3 cameras. It's an advertising sort of angle, but it's not really useful. But, you know, that's not the focus. The focus is performance. And they sacrificed the RGB. They didn't invest much in the cameras, but you should get a lot of performance thanks to this and the new silver plating that they have in the back here. So I'm really interested to see how well it performs, if it can compete with the phones with the X65 Plus, because, you know, that is a faster processor, but there's no other phone out there that has this much work put into the cooling system. So I'm really, really interested in seeing just how well that goes. But anyways, you know, that's been it for this phone. I hope you guys liked that video, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a nice day.